You're hearing that Bryce Harper's long-term play is...
This is complicated. That was a very simplified... it was a Reader's Digest version of the interview. The interview was about... It's on Chicago. In Chicago. It was about, well, Chris Bryant is the Cubs reached out about doing a long-term extension, and he wasn't. I said, look, I mean, these things... Scott Boras is his agent, and Scott is great at what he does. He is going to get Chris Bryant the greatest contract he can get him. But understand, when it comes to those contracts, it's very important for the agent. I mean, and I said, the question is, does Chris Bryant, after about 3 or 4 years, want to be this generation's Ernie Banks and be an icon in Chicago his entire life? I said, it comes down to that. We'll see. And I said, when you get up into that kind of level of contract, it's very hard to really know what the value is. Is it really important to be the highest paid player? And I said, for instance, I mean, there are people who tell me that Bryce Harper would love to be in the middle of the country, in Chicago. He doesn't have the whole West Coast thing. He doesn't have any more of the East Coast. He's going to be the greatest Yankee ever lived. I mean, and he and Bryant grew up in Las Vegas. They know one another. They're both great guys. And, people say, well, he would love to play for the Cubs. But, I said, they're not going to be able to afford both guys. So probably will never happen. But somehow that went into it. I said that he wanted to play for the – I'm sure he would love to in one way or another. But I was trying to make the point that there are so many factors that go into who makes the most money or whatever, and it kind of gets forgotten after a while. I mean, I don't think I can remember what Clayton Kershaw is making right now, just that he's the best pitcher in the game. So that was the context of what was said.
So what do you think Bryce Harper's long-term play is when it all comes down to it?
If I were to guess one place, it would be the Yankees, because they're going to have so much money to spend by the time he's out there. And there's no doubt in my mind that Bryce could take the pressure of playing in New York. I mean, this guy was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16, was made out to be a divisive figure by the time he was, would have been a freshman in college, which he wasn't a divisive figure, but that's the image because he's brash. But I think that he could handle New York, and I think that they would pay huge money. And by the time he would get there, I mean, I'm of the feeling right now at 2-something East Coast time that the Yankees are going to end up winning the American League East. But I think 2 years from now, when Gleyber Torres is there and a couple more kids come along, I think they're going to be an absolute monster powerhouse for years. And add Harper to that, it could really be something. It's a great investment because they can own the city, and we know that all the television ratings and attendance go with it. I think it would be a great fit.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you like that, download our app. Please, just if it's a memory thing, just delete other apps. You don't need those apps. This app, the Rich Eisen Show app, you need that.